It's day 2 of the NCAA South Regional Softball Tournament. It is a matchup for a trip to the regional final. The winner's bracket, Game 3, sees the University of Tampa Spartans and the Nova Southeastern Sharks face off, and it'll be a duel of aces in the circle. For the Spartans, it's Gwen McGinnis, the Sunshine State Conference Pitcher of the Year. One part of this insanely strong Spartans rotation, taking on a Sharks team that was able to get a walk-off victory yesterday to punch their ticket to the next round. Here's the Nova Southeastern order for the new game today. Cassidy Duskin leads off, followed by Cassidy Patterson. Brenna Lekensky, the walk-off hero, follows, as that's a lead-off single by Duskin, with Tori Copeland batting 4th. Lauren Margulis bats in 5th, with Abby Moore down 6th. Malaya Lawson batting 7th, Samantha Dixon 8th, Brianna Matthews rounds out the order. It'll be Graceland Wallace in the circle once we roll to the bottom of the first. But for now, the Sharks have a base runner. Duskin finding a hole in between Reynolds and Russo. Strike one. And this Tampa team is a fearsome one. 41-8 on the season. Gwen McGinnis has 15 of those wins. And that's going to be hit right to McGinnis. Throw! Not in time. Successful bunt. Not only moves over the runner, but great hustle by Patterson sets the table for Brenna Lekensky, as McGinnis and the Spartans are in a little bit of trouble early. I'm Taylor Storworthy, joined by Skippy for the action today. And Nova's been off to a pretty good start.
Well, if you're Nova, you're coming off that walk-off last night, you're going to be amped up, and they're bringing it right to Tampa. You want to win, make sure you're in the final. You don't want to go down to the second chance bracket.
That's going to be bunted over to third. Russo gets out number 1, moving runners over to second and third. Nice sacrifice from the team's leading batter. A bit of a risk to take the bat out of the hands of your strongest hitter, but every run is important when facing the Spartans. McGinnis and Wallace faced off in the regular season. They both had stellar performances where Wallace barely beat McGinnis. Wallace had a 7-inning shutout with 10 strikeouts. McGinnis allowed a single run, giving her the defeat alongside 8 strikeouts. They know that one run can be the difference maker, and Nova's looking to score it here. Copeland down 0-1. And that's going to load the bases. Changeup missed far and inside and hits Copeland in the shoulder. The good news is that pitch was basically moving in slow motion. So that probably didn't really hurt that much.
Well, Coach Canner is coming out to try to settle the nerves, get everyone back in order. Say, hey, Nova came to play. Let's match the energy.
We've got 7 innings of softball still to play. There's plenty of time, even if Tampa concedes the lead in the first inning, for the Spartans to try to bounce back. But given that Wallace has had an incredible start to tournament play with 7 innings of 1-run ball yesterday, 1 run could be a difference maker, and it's up to McGinnis to get out of this bases-loaded jam. That'll bring Margulis to the plate. Inside, ball 1. You rarely see McGinnis miss on an offering like that. McGinnis enters today with 4 hit-by pitches on the season and 13 walks in total. That's going to make it 1-1. Good fastball in the outside corner.
And if you're Nova, you definitely do not want McGinnis to get comfortable and just take control of this game and let her settle in.
Strike 2. And that will certainly be the secret. If any of these pitchers can get locked in, get in the zone, you're going to find yourself off offense very frequently with a lot of 1, 2, 3 innings and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, she's done a good job since the mound visit, kind of slowed the game down a little bit. It was moving real quick.
The 2-2 high and inside. On deck is Abby Moore, but if you're Gwen McGinnis, you have to give a strike. You have to challenge Margulis to swing the bat. You have to trust the Tampa defense, who's playing deep in the outfield. That's fouled back, and another payoff pitch on the way. Nova was able to jump early in that first at-bat with the hit by Cassidy Duskin. Then Patterson got on board with the bunt, and Lekinski moved the runners over before a hit by pitch added an extra player to the equation. Payoff pitch. Ball 4, just high and outside. Nova takes the lead with a bases loaded walk. One away, same spot. A slightly less threatening hitter in Abby Moore, but this could be a special moment for the freshman if she can convert in a bases loaded situation. Also wonder if Coach Cantor could look to pull McGinnis if the shaky start continues and maybe go with Galehouse, save up McGinnis for later in the day if Tampa loses. From the winner's bracket, if you lose, you play at 6 p.m. to try to keep your season alive for a trip to the regional final. If you win, you get the rest of the day off. Nova has the lead, and now it'll be 1-1. At 3 p.m. today, Barry will take on Spring Hill in a loser leaves matchup. Win and you advance to the 6 p.m. game against the loser of this match. And it's 2-0. That one hit the head. The changeup from McGinnis hit the exact wrong spot you wanted to throw it. That was the exact same as the previous hit by pitch. And it looks like McGinnis might be exiting. Or there's just a talk on the way to the circle. Coach Cantor going over some changes. I imagine it'll be Galehouse coming down from right field.
There's nobody in the pen, nobody peeking out of the dugout. You know, if you're Coach Cantor, when you walk out to the mound, you got to settle the nerves down, get your girls ready to play. Obviously, Nova coming off that big walk-off, you know, they're amped up. They wanted this.
You can tell that McGinnis just struggling to get settled in, and just going back to the start of the inning. There was a very early single, not the bunt single on the sacrifice attempt, but Cassidy Duskin taking the first pitch of the game and hitting it past the shortstop, matching the tempo of the Spartans pitching staff, who's known for going quickly in the circle. They do a great job of trying to dictate the ABs, go fast left and right. And I think that might have thrown McGinnis off to the point where that will bring Mariah Galehouse to the circle. It's not going to be the final appearance for McGinnis today. She could even return to the circle later on. Or if Tampa loses, I imagine she'd get the green light to be the 6 p.m. game starter. But it'll be Galehouse looking to go the distance here. Bases are still loaded, and the Sharks have had a flawless start to the ball game. The only out coming off a sacrifice. 2-0. We'll be right back. Very quick warm-up. Infield playing pretty shallow. It's a bases-loaded spot for the Sharks. They've already got a 2-0 lead. Strike one. Mariah Galehouse, making her fourth bullpen appearance of the season, enters with a 14-2 record and the second best ERA in a single season in Spartans history with 0.68. A strong postseason would keep Mariah squarely in that P2 position. All the base runners on board would be earned for Gwen McGinnis, who's exited the game after some command issues led to 2 runs coming home. No swing, 1-2, that one missing just outside. Very uncharacteristic command issues for McGinnis as well. A tricky bases-loaded full-count walk, and then a changeup that just accidentally hit the batter in the head. There's a fly ball caught in center field by Keister. Throw to the plate, and they won't double him up. 3-0 Sharks. That was about as close as you could get on the throw by Keister. Copeland barely reached home safely. Might have been closer than the Sharks were hoping for, but they won't mind because they have now extended to a 3-0 lead.
You know, it's an unfortunate situation, but good hitting IQ by Nova, knowing you got to elevate that ball and get another one. And if you're Tampa, you're probably going to give up another one with 1 out and bases loaded.
A strikeout from Gelthouse would have been the goal there, but she does get the second out, alleviating some of the pressure. The throw to home plate did bring the runners from first and second to second and third. A hit could bring them both home and really make things grim for the Spartans. That's going to be hit to Russo, but the danger will be kept to just that. A walk, a hit by pitch, and a sacrifice fly. That's not the way you normally score runs, but the Sharks will take it. They've jumped to a 3-0 lead against the 1 seed in the South region. More action from the NCAA regionals when we come back. Well, bad news for the Spartans faithful, great news for Nova fans. Their ace, Graceland Wallace, takes the circle with a 3-0 lead. The Sharks loaded the bases, brought home a run via walk, a run via hit by pitch, and a sacrifice fly in the first inning. They even chased Gwen McGinnis out of the ballgame. You couldn't have had a better start if you tried if you were Nova Southeastern as they look to punch their ticket to the regional final. Welcome back to TampaSpartans.tv from NCAA streaming services for the coverage of the 2025 South Region. Let's give you Tampa's lineup, which hasn't seen any changes despite the change in the circle. The lineup is going to remain as is. Lily Keister leads off with Lauren Fantone right behind, Alexa Russo batting third, Mariah Galehouse going from right field to the circle batting fourth, Kenna Kreither fifth, Abby Solt sixth, Kate DeSimone from DH to right field batting seventh, Hannah Yetter eighth, and Kenzie Reynolds ninth. Gwen McGinnis could return to the game later today. It is possible that Coach Cantor just pulled her to kind of give her a chance to reset in the dugout. It depends on who she'd want for potential game two if the Spartans can't make up this 3-0 deficit. And certainly, you're happy if you're the Sharks to have Wallace in the circle. A bouncer gets the Spartans on the board. Lily Keister bounces that over the head of Copeland, and they'll get a leadoff runner.
Well, if you're Tampa, Nova came out and they presented the game how they want to play. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to come right at you, high energy. Tampa's going to have to do what they did yesterday and just one run, just pick away at it. And Galehouse is going to come in and shut it down.
Tampa was able to score 4 against Spring Hill yesterday, and they did it all across multiple innings. Tampa gets 2 base runners and a runner at the corners. We saw a little bit of infield chaos put McGinnis in trouble early. It's a repeat with Wallace in the circle as she has to deal with runners at the corners and Alexa Russo at the plate. The throw from Copeland, who fielded the sacrifice bunt as cleanly as you could. She got there immediately, just went offline. Dixon wasn't able to pick it up at first, and the Sharks are in an immediate string of trouble, and that is immediately going to send the Sharks to the circle. Kind of avoiding the same mistake we saw the Spartans almost with Gwen McGinnis, if you could say, because you have to imagine that it was McGinnis getting uncomfortable after she couldn't get the out on the first sacrifice bunt attempt and just never really recovered.
Yeah, I think this meeting on the mound is going to be, hey, watch the runner at first. They're going to want to stay out of the double play. Watch that sacrifice. Check your runner at third. Let's settle it down. We got the lead. And if you're Tampa over there, you're kind of rubbing your fingers together. All right, we got something cooking here.
Of course, you have Mariah Galehouse on deck as well. She'll have a chance to help herself out in the circle, given that she has taken that position. And I imagine that if they do decide to keep her in, she'll get the green light to go the rest of the day.
If you're Nova here, you're going to go against a hot Alexa Russo. She is really just pounding the ball right now. Real hard hits everywhere she's hitting.
Russo's always possessed incredible power, but her averages and numbers have always been a little bit lower, just given the nature of our ballpark being very unfriendly to power hitters. But in her senior season, she's really become a master of finding the doubles and the gaps. As that ball's going to get away, Tampa's on the board. And it's the aces of both of these pitching staffs that are having some postseason hiccups in this regional semifinal. Well, it's a double elimination bracket. I don't know if you can truly call it a semifinal. I mean, you still kind of do. Either way, it's now 3-1. Tampa with a crucial run to cut the deficit.
You know, I'm a big believer. I don't worry about the brackets. I just want to go out there and win. Take it all out of the equation.
Ball 2 missing up high. And I think I definitely have to agree with that, Skippy. Instead of thinking about the double elimination bracket, going from bottom to top, win 3 games before losing 2.
That's right.
That's the goal in the postseason.
You know, some coaches really get caught up in the brackets. Hey, who do we want to play next game? I'm a big believer. I want to go out there and win. I'm a competitor.
Fly ball from Russo going to deep right field. Catch is made. That'll advance the runner. Would have made it 3-2. The relay to the infield isn't good, so it is 3-2. A sac fly for Alexa Russo, bringing the runner home from second. Now, the error is what brought the runner home, so Russo's not going to get the RBI, unfortunately. But it's just the same outcome. 3-2 now as the Spartans will see the bases empty with one away, but they've already converted twice.
What a wild start to this game. I was not thinking anything like this.
Call it the commentator's curse. I mentioned that there was likely going to be a pitcher's duel today. These two dueled to 13 innings of one-run ball in the regular season. But instead, we have seen 5 innings in the first inning. Our PA guy, Dwayne, was really upset because I said 13 innings. 7 innings for Wallace, 6 for McGinnis. They didn't go to extras, so I wasn't trying to jinx that. 1-0 count. But with these two teams, and given that Nova did feature in extras yesterday, I wouldn't say it's not impossible that we could go the distance and a little bit further in this one.
I think we're in for a real exciting game until the pitchers settle in.
Both these teams nationally ranked, Tampa amongst the top 5 in the nation, Nova in the top 20. And they have been living up to that reputation on offense at least. 3-0 count for Galehouse. Okay, 2-1 actually. There was a strike earlier in the at-bat. That's going to be outside, ball 3. Down the stretch, Wallace has been incredible in the circle.
Yeah, she pitched a great game yesterday.
Her last 5 starts have not seen her give up more than 2 runs in the circle. Tampa's already put up 2 in the first inning as Galehouse goes down looking. I believe it was a full count there. And that is an important first strikeout for Wallace to put 2 outs on the board. Strike 1, Wallace finding the zone against Kreidler.
Well, if you're Tampa here, you answered the call. I mean, you haven't evened it up, but you got 2 back, and that's pretty good.
It certainly is. And Wallace is not someone who concedes runs easily. In terms of raw innings and total output across the season, one could certainly make the argument that she would deserve Sunshine State Conference Pitcher of the Year. I think her most mind-blowing start for the season was her outing against Embry-Riddle back on April 18th. after having pitched the day before. She went out for 12 innings, gave up 4, took the win in extras, and threw 191 pitches.
In one game?
In one game.
Wow.
She gave up 8 walks and 9 hits, but repeatedly got out of tough situations. And when she gave up 1 run in the 12th, the Sharks responded to walk things off in the bottom half of the inning.
That is a wild pitch count.
It certainly is.
My arm would fall off, guaranteed.
A workhorse in every sense of the word. When they give her the softball, they don't need to go to the bullpen. And I imagine that she'll have 300-plus pitches by the time regional play wraps up, because I don't think anyone else on that Nova pitching staff, if Wallace can still throw the softball, is going to see any chance to play in the circle. 2-2 on the way to Kreidler. Up high, ball 3. And I mentioned, of course, she did have those 8 walks against Embry-Riddle. Command has not been a huge issue for her. 166 to 75 strikeout to walk ratio for the season. Slightly higher walk rate, but is a strikeout machine as well. Payoff pitch. Solt on deck. Tipped foul.
Well, as you noticed, the tempo of this game is really slowed down.
Yeah, that's the difference between the Spartans and a lot of other teams. Tampa's pitchers always like to run at a fast pace. They like to go kind of quickly. But other teams, they slow things down. They're a bit more methodical. Deep fly ball by Kenna Kreidler. There it goes. See ya! Solo shot.
Wow.
3 in the first for both the Spartans and the Sharks. Forget a shutout. Forget a pitcher's duel. It's a shootout at the Namoli Family Stadium.
Unbelievable.
A solo shot for Kenna Kreidler. Her second of the season. Both the home runs coming here at the hardest place to hit it in the nation. And it's the second hit for the Spartans as well to tie the game. A deep breath of fresh air for McGinnis. And newfound life for the Spartans. Abby Solt now will take ball 1 in the inside corner.
I was saying yesterday, Kreidler has that hidden power.
Showcased it right there. And a team full of upperclassmen. It's a sophomore that delivers a crucial blow for the Spartans as the count goes 1-1. Good breaking ball by Wallace.
That was an absolute no-doubter. I mean, that wasn't one that just makes it over. That ball was going.
You know, if you're a Nova fan tuning in and you don't see as many games in the Namoli Family Stadium, I might wonder why we got so surprised and excited for a home run. That's because they rarely fly here in Tampa. A lot of them end in flyouts, almost like that one, but it lands off the net before in foul territory. Because of not just how deep the walls are, because they are pretty deep in terms of dimensions compared to other stadiums, it's how high the walls are. A lot of times, home run balls just fall off the wall for a double, and that happens less often than you'd think. Usually, it'll just fall at the warning track.
I believe it was Kreidler yesterday hit a double off the center field wall, dead center, and she hits it about another 6 feet higher. It was gone.
Solt swing and a miss, and Wallace picks up 2 strikeouts to wrap up the inning. But Tampa started the inning strong, bringing home a run on a sac fly, a run on a wild pitch, and a solo shot by Kenna Kreidler to pull things level after a chaotic first inning. Top of the second, 9-1-2 due up for the Sharks. So we're ready to go in the top of the second. Oh, boy. Now this is what you call postseason softball. The Sharks started with a walk, hit by pitch, and sac fly to bring home 3 runs. Tampa responded with a wild pitch, sac fly, and solo home run to bring home 3 runs. And as Galehouse will continue in the circle, we are all level at Nemoli Family Stadium. It's the game number 3 of the NCAA South Regional. Sharks and Spartans. That's going to get over the head and caught tracking back by Yetter. Could have been a bloop single, but the Sharks kept off the board, 1 away. That's now going to bring up Cassidy Duskin back to the top of the Sharks order. Defensive changes for the Spartans. Obviously, with Gwen McGinnis exiting the game with 1 away in the first inning, it saw some shuffling in the Spartans lineup. Gilhouse moves from right field to the circle. DeSimone goes from the DH to the first base player position. And Abby Solt goes from being the first base player to right field. The first time Solt is playing right field at home for the Spartans. And that'll hit the zone 1-1.
What a change of events in 5 minutes. I mean, unbelievable. The emotion, the feeling is almost like playoff hockey.
Yeah, and certainly things must have been feeling not the greatest over in the Spartans camp after that first inning. Giving up 3, seeing the Sunshine State Conference Pitcher of the Year chased out of the game. Deflected to Reynolds. A nice infield single by Duskin as Galehouse nor Reynolds could get a hold of that one. And Duskin hits the gritty after her second hit of the day. Here comes Patterson to the plate. Her sacrifice bunt back in the first inning saw her beat out the throw by Gwen McGinnis to set the table. She'd eventually score on the hit by pitch. This time looking to swing away. I'm never a fan of one-out sacrifice bunts. And it doesn't look like Nova are going to do that right here.
Well, I was saying Tampa had to come and match the energy, and boy, did they ever.
Strike 2. Patterson went around, chasing the high fastball. Up high. Kreidler quickly popping up as well, worried about Duskin potentially stealing second. That is a very valid fear. She's stolen 36 bases this season. That's the team lead alongside Patterson. As Addo missed down low, 2-2.
You're going to have to watch Kreidler here. She can do those snap throws. He was thinking about it right there.
Not just at the plate, but a very strong player defensively. With some of our strongest Spartans graduating next season, you'd imagine Kenna Kreidler kind of becomes the heart of this offense, where a lot of the offense flows through her. She possesses incredible plate discipline and, like you said, some sneaky power. We saw it firsthand there, clearing the left field wall at the Nemoli Family Stadium. Hit to second. This could be 2. 6-4. They'll take the fielder's choice. Patterson was going to beat that throw every single time. 2 away. A non-productive out for the Sharks. The only benefit you could say is they do bring up their best bat in Lukensky. Now, interestingly, Barry yesterday had a situation in the bottom of the 7th with runners at second and third and 1 away with Lukensky at the plate. Instead of walking the player with a 1,000 OPS, they trust Rosenberger to try to get her out. Lukensky rips a double into the gap to walk it off. Wonder, do things go differently if you instead bring him loaded for Torrey Copeland and bring a force out at home? Throw it to the outfield. As that one got away from Reynolds, nice stolen base there by Patterson. She'll pick up her 37th of the season as she reaches scoring position. And yes, both Duskin and Patterson entered with 36 stolen bases into the playoffs. Patterson has now made it 37 for the outright Sharks lead. Inside, 3-0 now from Galehouse. And that one was close. Galehouse for the season has just given up 6 walks over 112 innings. Make it 113 and a third now. Or 113 and 2/3. And make it 7 walks as that one just misses outside. opens up a force out at second and third, but that doesn't really matter. Tampa just needs one out in this spot to get out of the inning.
It's not a bad game plan.
So here we go with 2 away. Strike 1. Good spot by Galehouse. Copeland is still a pretty dangerous batter with a high OBP, third on the team at 442 for the starting lineup, and also a 425 slugging, third in the team. Just behind Lekensky and Margulis on deck. But she'll quickly fall behind 0-2. Galehouse, not one to fall into trouble in the circle. Fouled away. The Sharks still have a chance to respond, but they need to keep this inning going with a hit. Change up, ball 1. That's the Galehouse special. An absolutely vicious changeup that'll throw off your timing and not leave you ready for a fastball. Wonder if she'll go slow or go fast. 1-2. Hit to left field, but that one does not have a lot of pop. Easy catch for Lauren Fantone. And while Nova bring a couple of base runners aboard, Galehouse has a clean top of the second. And can the red-hot Spartans bats continue to convert against Wallace? We'll find out when we come back here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. And we're ready to go for a brand new frame of softball. Gracelyn Wallace continues. It was one of her weaker innings of the season, but that's just because she carried a 182 ERA, 116 whip, and a dominant 22-3 record entering this regional semifinal matchup. There's ball 1 on the inside. It's Kate DeSimone, who went the distance, a complete game shutout yesterday, leading off. 2-0 missing inside for DeSimone. The Spartans entered the bottom of the first, trailing 3-0, but they responded with a keister hit. Fantone advancing on an error. Kreidler getting a solo home run, and of course a couple other crazy plays helping Tampa out. 3-0 count now for DeSimone. Might get a leadoff walk. Yetter and Reynolds on deck. Yetter will make her first professional postseason appearance. I believe it'll be the same, or at bat, won't be the same for Kenzie Reynolds, who was at the plate yesterday. That'll be strike 1. Good spot from Wallace.
DeSimone pitched a great game yesterday.
Yeah, DeSimone was sharp, efficient, and kept the Spartans out of danger. And now she'll draw a leadoff walk. Danger for you, Tampa. The Sharks infield should get ready. I imagine there is one play call only that Yetter will be receiving from Coach Cantor. And that is to lay one down and run as hard as you can. DeSimone ready to run. First pitch. That gets down, picked up at third base. Good discipline by Copeland, letting it roll foul. Be very instinctive to pick that up when you see it kind of bouncing. If she did, it would have been a successful sacrifice for the Spartans and set the table for Kenzie Reynolds.
That actually takes a lot of discipline to just let the ball be sometimes.
Especially because if you let it roll and it stays in play, you look like a fool. 0-1 now. Yetter will try again. Takes up high for ball one. Normally, you want to increase the pitch count of an opposition starter. But, again, unless they do want to bring Cassidy Duskin in from left field, they are not going to be pulling Grayson Wallace. Bunt, and that is corralled in foul territory, and that'll be the first out of the inning. And Cantor, not super happy with the call, thought it bounced. Cantor had a good view down the third base line. Both the infield umpires didn't have incredible views either. If there was an umpire in Cantor's position, maybe the call would have gone differently. You couldn't see where the ball landed on the bounce. But you know what they say, you can't fight City Hall.
Well, it's not going to go well for you. You're going to go back to the shower and the locker room if you do.
One thing I will say, though, for Coach Cantor is if you see her not happy about a call, it means she's probably right, because she's never one to show really any sort of sign of displeasure towards the decision.
Yeah, she usually has a really good case when she wants to talk to the umpire.
Yeah, she remains level-headed. And, sometimes coaches will kind of get a little bit upset, but she's always like a stone cold, almost like a wall of ice, if you will. Just kind of shrugs it off and moves on. So when you see her just kind of a little bit flabbergasted, if you will, that's when you can tell, okay, maybe they just didn't see it. Maybe they're the ones who missed the call. And that's not Spartan bias here. That's just our experiences seeing Coach Cantor there. And she had the perfect view, too, down the third base line. Only person in view of that play.
Yeah.
Either way, good job by the Nova Southeastern catcher to corral it. That was more behind home plate and a difficult play to get to. As the count goes 1-1, bunt went foul by Kenzie Reynolds. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Sacrifice bunt is probably off the table. I imagine she'll try to slap it in the ground for either a productive out or just to avoid a double play.
If she could somehow pull the ball to right center, I mean, they're going to be running for quite a while.
Fouled away. Corners going a bit further back, but the third base player still pretty far in, and she'll watch it roll foul as it stays 1-2. It's Copeland, Lekensky, Dixon, and Margulis in the infield. Duskin, Matthews, Lawson in the outfield. Moore and Wallace are the battery for the Sharks.
Yeah, if you're Wallace, you got to keep the ball on the outside part of the plate.
Hit to third. Copeland's there. Throws on target for one, but they're going to call it a foul ball. And that's good news for the Spartans.
Maybe got one back there, maybe.
I'll be honest. I thought from my point of view that barely stayed fair, but it must have been right on the line on the bounce. And
it looked like orange dirt to me.
Yeah. Either way, close play. Maybe that's Tampa getting a call back after the foul bunt. 1-2 coming up. Swing and a miss. Runner goes. And they don't get her. Just missed the tag. The throw was in time, but DeSimone slid under it. So she will get a stolen base. 2 away now for Lily Keister. By the way, the umpire crew today, Russell McLaughlin, Emily Torrance, and Tyrone Miller. We saw a majority of these people yesterday calling the games. I want to give them a shout out. They have to brave the heat here in Tampa. It's always hot this time of year in Florida, especially once you reach the May and June months. That's when the postseason really gives you unforgiving conditions. Taking a look at the AccuWeather app for the weather here at North Hyde Park. 101 real feel. So it is not easy out there, and the umpires wearing dark umpire uniforms. I imagine they'll wear the blue ones that are slightly lighter and a little bit nicer in the sun for the second game of the series. Got to make sure they stay hydrated because, well, and us too. We're in an air-conditioned booth, but it can still get pretty hot in here too. 2 outs now. It's Lily Keister who started with a single ready to go. Down the line, but foul. And by down the line, I meant straight back.
It is supposed to get a little bit warmer today. And I hope the weatherman is wrong because it is another great day for softball. But he's saying it's going to rain. You know, I always say the weatherman's 50% wrong. He says it's going to be nice out. I take the boat out, and all of a sudden it's storming.
Keep in mind, though, that's also Florida weather. Rain just spawns in randomly half the time.
That's what I always say. You don't like the weather in Florida? Give it 5 minutes.
Exactly. Something will change. 1-1 count now for Lily Keister. We've got a long day of softball, so unfortunately, it's not like a doubleheader where at the end of 3 hours you can say, oh, we missed the chance of rain because it didn't fall in that span. We're going to be going here from noon to probably 8 p.m., depending on how long that 6 p.m. goes, so that's a pretty big window for some showers to pass by, but maybe if they stay relatively light, the players wouldn't mind. The umpires, you know, they're wearing hats. They'll be safe from the wet weather. They'll probably embrace the cool breezes as well that'll come through. Just as long as it doesn't get too hazardous to play, I don't think too many people will be disappointed. 2-2 now. Here comes Lily Keister again. A long battle with Wallace, but as we saw in the regular season, Nova is not afraid to let her go until the game is finished, no matter what. Fouled back.
Keister doing a great job of this about just battling. And when you start getting into a higher pitch count at bat, usually the advantage is going to go to the hitter as they get the timing down. They see the release point really well.
So 2-2 again. Keister staying alive. Fouled away.
Wallace has to command that ball on the outside of the plate. She brings it inside. I mean, you see the big hole in right center. It's massive.
Yeah, there is a shift in the outfield. If Keister hits it clean down the middle, she could get it inside the Parker. She's got the speed to make it around the base path. But so far, she's only been able to foul things away a little bit late on the stuff from Wallace. This is an infuriating at-bat if you're Wallace in the circle because you're thinking, what do I need to throw to get the strikeout? What do I need to end the inning? She does have 3 strikeouts so far in the game, got her third against Reynolds. And that is not a fourth against Keister, but it's an easy fly ball for Duskin to get to, and the side is retired. Both the Sharks and Spartans generate some pressure. However, they can't do much else. Brand new inning getting underway. Margolis leads off for the Spartans. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network studio at the Demoli Family Stadium. We've got a great view behind home plate, covering the action here on NCAA.com. That'll be strike one.
You know, this game started not how we were thinking it was, but coming into the second inning, we're seeing them settle in a little more. As that one rolls in the dirt through the batter's box. I think as this game goes on, you're going to see the pitchers really settle in and have that game that we were thinking we were going to have.
1-1, missing, no, clipping the corner for Galehouse. That'll make it 1-2. That'll be the question of how Galehouse and Wallace can duel. And that'll make the count 2-2, just barely missing. Foul.
That right there was a product of that electric fastball. Had her sitting fastball.
Margulis walked in a run in her first at bat, got stranded at third after advancing on the sac fly. Hit sharply to short. Reynolds has time, one away. Tampa gets a quick out to bring up Moore. What's really funny for the 5, 6, and 7 chain of the Sharks lineup, they all are 0 for 0, and they've all had RBIs. Moore got hit by a pitch on the helmet with the bases loaded. Probably the happiest hit by pitch of your career if that happens.
And you get an RBI for it.
Of course. And on deck, Lawson had that sac fly to center field. The first opponent for Galehouse out of the bullpen. And by bullpen, I mean right field. Because that's where Galehouse starts the game. Whenever she's not in the circle, she's the everyday right fielder for the Spartans, as the count goes 1-1. But moving to right field today, interestingly enough, is Abby Solt. She is in the outfield with Lily Keister and Lauren Fantone in center and left. D. Simone's at first base now, with Yetter at second base, Reynolds at short, and Russo, the everyday third base player for the Spartans. Kenna Kreidler, who helped Galehouse out by tying the game in the bottom of the first, forms the battery. She's been the starter, I think, every single game of the season there.
I think she's a great catcher. Definitely a good crew chief on the field.
Strike 3. That's the first strikeout for Galehouse out of the bullpen. 2 away now to bring up Lawson. There have been a few Spartan starters that haven't missed a single game this season. Lily Keister, Alexa Russo, Mariah Galehouse, Lauren Fantone, Kenna Kreidler, and Kenzie Reynolds. Everyone else has had a couple games off the bench, including Abby Solt, who featured in 46, McKenna DiMartino, who hasn't had a postseason start, but throughout a majority of the season was the starting shortstop, eventually moved to second base in the final game of the regular season. And then a couple other players featuring pretty often. Kate DeSimone, 35 played and 33 starts. That one gets past both DeSimone and Yetter into the outfield. A nice infield single that could perfectly split the Spartans' defense. And Lawson gets on the board.
That was a good bait and switch tactic. She showed bunt first pitch, 2 outs. I thought it was kind of strange, but that's going to make your corners play up. Much less reaction time. You don't have the ability to range, and essentially that's just what happened right off the tip of the glove of DeSimone.
Always good when you can keep your opponents honest. That's exactly what flashing a bunt for a hit can do. 1-0 count now for Dixon. The freshman is the weakest batter stat-wise for the Nova lineup. This would be a great chance for them to try to have a big postseason moment. We saw the underclassman Kenna Kreidler have one earlier in the day. And while we've seen 3 RBIs come home for the Sharks, they haven't really done it via anything special, nothing that's truly memorable. I don't think necessarily that Moore is going to be reminiscing 10 years' time about the time she got hit in the helmet to bring home an RBI in the playoffs. Going to be hit to third. Russo gets the final out of the frame. Whenever the ball's hit her way, she is automatic. Galehouse surrenders another base runner off a nice infield single, but Lawson doesn't go anywhere. The inning is over. Due up for the Spartans, Fantone, Russo, and the player in the circle. Fantone leads off for you, Tampa. Welcome back on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Coverage of NCAA regional play. An exciting matchup between the Spartans and Sharks. Question will be whether things are starting to turn into more of a pitcher's duel rather than a shootout after both teams put up 3 in the top and bottom of the first.
Yeah, what a electric start to the game. I mean, that was grand finale fireworks right there.
2-0, Wallace will miss the zone to Fantone. St. Leo and Auburn Montgomery have had a similar crazy start. The Lions and Warhawks are tied 2-2, also in a Tampa-based matchup. And funny enough, the scorelines have been very similar across both regions. Auburn Montgomery had a 4-run win over West Florida. St. Leo a 1-run win over Mississippi College. The top seed had a shutout in both regions as well, alongside their wins. And that's going to be a leadoff walk, 4 straight to Fantone.
Well, that's good news for Alexis Russo right there. And you put a big-time speed threat, no outs, and I think you're going to let Russo swing, so you might see some action here on the bases.
Russo's also been successful laying down some sacrifice bunts on the season, actually is second on the team behind Lily Keister. Keister hasn't always been the leadoff player for the Spartans. Late in the season, her and Fantone switched positions, given that Keister leads the team with a .373 average on the year. The only players who do better, Devin Hammonds, who's had 16 at-bats in the season. Good bunt by Russo. Picked up at third. This time, no throwing error. And note how, with the Sharks aggressively crashing in the infield and covering third base, it was center fielder Matthews having to go to second base to hold the runner. You don't always see that as the outfield now goes deep for Mariah Galehouse. Just the start you want for the Spartans, a runner in scoring position with 1 away. First pitch for Wallace. Hit sharply to short. Runner stays put at second as that's out number 2. Went right to Lakensky. And because she was pretty much right next to Fantone, there was no way Fantone could try to advance. 2 outs quickly, and that's an important follow-up from Wallace. Soltz has moved down to 6th in the order today. That middle 4 sometimes kind of flip-flops, but it's usually always Russo, Galehouse, Kreidler, and Soltz in some order. And batting in 5th, Kreidler, with her solo home run earlier today, will see ball 1. It isn't easy to send the ball over the wall here at Namoli Family Stadium. Kreidler's 2nd of the year, the Tampa Spartans' 16th of the season. That's going to hit the zone outside corner, 1-1. As a pitching staff, Tampa have only surrendered 3 home runs as a team, and they've all come on road games, I believe. The 1-1 misses low, good block by Moore. There was one wild pitch earlier in the day for Wallace. It brought a run home.
One thing about Kreidler is she makes you earn it. She has unmatched plate discipline.
And that is going to be ball 3. Set a Spartan record earlier in the year for walks in the season. And now that tally has hit 40. A walk here would bring her to 41 for 2025. And that is ball 4, 2-on-2 away. Here comes Abby Solt. A big moment for the graduate student from St. Petersburg to get on the board. She's been in tournament play quite a bit in the South region. Previously at Valdosta State before transferring to Tampa for her graduate season. She'll foul away strike 1. Last season, a .365 average, 29 home runs. and 64 RBIs. The reason those numbers have dropped this year, because of our ballpark. Plain and simple. She has still been extremely effective for the Spartans, even clearing the fences a couple times. 1-1, fastball missing away from Wallace. One and two. Good location for the off-speed pitch by Wallace. Getting ahead of the veteran. That's going to be hit to second. Bobbled it on the hop. Tampa's going to send the runner home, and she is safe. Too hot to handle for Dixon. Fantone scores from second. Tampa takes the lead.
That is an amazing job of being aggressive. They were paying no attention to the runner coming around third.
With two away, the Tampa base runner is going to be moving no matter what, and it puts them up 4-3 off an error by Dixon, the third of the game for the Sharks. You had the final out right there, but it just hopped away. Now it's Kate DeSimone. She's had some clutch moments as well. And she'll take ball one. That's going to miss and advance both base runners. Second wild pitch of the day for Wallace. Tampa's taken the lead, and DeSimone's ahead in the count again. It's an unearned run for Wallace, who's only had one earned run in total, as there's a conference in the circle. This is a big performance from Tampa, showing up in the best possible way against one of the best pitchers in the nation. The last time Wallace surrendered 4 runs in a game was back on April 18th in that 12-inning performance against Embry-Riddle. Embry-Riddle was a tough series for her. She also gave up 6 back on the 17th of that series. And then previously, on her most recent trip against the Tampa team, had 4 runs allowed over a 7-inning performance against St. Leo. Against the Spartans, she tallied 2 starts, 18 strikeouts, and 14 innings of 1-run ball.
Right here, if you're Nova, you got to figure out how to slow this game down and get out of this inning.
Wallace getting set. Inside, ball 1. Runners at second and third, 2-0 by the way. The conference in the circle happened in the middle of the at-bat. By the way, Skippy, here's a little bit more info on another crazy start from Graceland Wallace. This time, facing off against Eckerd and their starter, Raymer. The duo dueled for 11 innings, where Nova Southeastern eventually had a walk-off grand slam to win 8-4. Wallace had 4 runs allowed over 11 innings, struck out 12, 199 pitches.
Wow.
Raymer, for the Eckerd Tritons, had 196 pitches. This one's going to be dropping in the outfield. Dixon couldn't get a read on it. 2 runs will score for the Spartans. Kate DeSimone. A little bit of veteran magic. 6-3, U Tampa in the bottom of the third.
That one right there just floated out there to that no man's land, the Bermuda Triangle.
There have been some teams struggling to see the ball in the sun. We saw that yesterday for Spring Hill once or twice. And today it's the Sharks that fall victim to it. With Dixon unable to corral it, she was the closest player to it. And even though it did land in no man's land, I thought she was in range to make the catch.
Yeah, it looked like the center fielder might have called her off.
So 2 away. Both runs score. Here comes Kelsey Winters in a pinch hit appearance here for Hannah Yetter.
those little bloopers that go to no man's land, they're hard to read. They have so much backspin, so they go up and they just float, and all of a sudden they just die. They just drop. Very hard to read.
Ball one up high. Taking a look at the Spartans team this year, and then for the future, it's players like Kelsey Winters that'll have to step up to some of the big roles next season for the Spartans. Winters spent 2 seasons in Iowa before making a move to Tampa via the transfer portal. Previously at Newsom High School as well in Lithia, Florida. That's going to miss. 2-1 now. Winters getting ahead. Hasn't had the greatest of seasons at the plate. 151 average, 288 on base, 170 slugging percentage. But this would be a great moment in her first postseason appearance. Popped up. But it's going to take a fielding miscue to keep the inning going. Catch is made. Tampa strike thrice on 1 hit and 1 error. Only one of the 3 runs that scores is earned, but it is a 6-3 Tampa lead, taking us to the top of the 4th in this regional semifinal. Welcome back to the action here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Taylor Sorley alongside Mark Skippy Lieberstein as we continue the action in postseason play. And Skippy, it's been a good day for the Spartans. Nova looking to get back on the board at the bottom of the order. Brianna Matthews leads off.
Yeah, we started the show with a bunch of fireworks. I'm not even going to attempt to tell you what happened because it seemed like a big blur. And Tampa just keeps applying pressure, and they broke through again.
A 3-run bottom of the 3rd could prove to be extremely useful. Top of the 4th underway with a 1-1 count. Update from St. Leo. It's Auburn Montgomery with a 4-2 lead against the Lions. The Warhawks looking to punch their ticket to the regional final. There are 2 more games later today across Tampa and St. Leo. At 3 p.m., it's the first game of the elimination bracket. Barry and Spring Hill will fight to keep their seasons alive. They will take on the loser of this game at 6 p.m. for a trip to face the winner tomorrow at 12 p.m. Drop third strike. Quick throw by Kreidler. Add another strikeout to the tally for Mariah Gilhouse. 1 away. 3rd of the ball game. Actually, 2nd of the ball game for Gilhouse, who now has completed 3 shutout innings out of the bullpen. The only run that scored past her was a sac fly when she entered with the bases loaded.
I think that was charged to McGinnis, I believe, yeah.
Yes, it still was charged to McGinnis. All of those runs were unearned. Strike 1.
Even though, Gilhouse was pitching, bases loaded, 1 out, you're probably going to get a sac fly situation.
Hit sharply to Reynolds. That took a high hop, but she read it. You'll love the hustle on that play, but Duskin couldn't slide in time. 2 away. A lot of dirt was kind of kicked up, still floating away from the field after that close play. Barely lost out on the foot race. That's going to bring up Cassidy Patterson for 2 away. The Cassidy duo leading off for the Sharks. And this time it's a bunt for a hit. Gilhouse's throw. Got her.
Wow.
Just by half a step. Oh, so close. That was a perfectly executed bunt. But Galehouse has a cannon out in right field and a cannon from the circle. Side is retired, a 1-2-3 inning. Tampa brings their red-hot offense back to the plate. Due up, it's Reynolds, Keister, and Fantone. 6-3, Spartans lead. To go for a brand new inning, leading off Kenzie Reynolds. Wallace continues in the circle for the Sharks. It's going to be a long day for Wallace, not necessarily in this game, but if the Sharks lose, I imagine she'd get the call to play at 6 p.m. as that'll be out number 1 in the very first pitch. Top of the order, Lily Keister coming up for the Spartans. You can tell that this is going to be the type of weekend for Wallace where they give her the softball and say, take us home. And, you know, she's done a pretty good job of that so far. There have been 3 errors for the Sharks, which have meant 6 out of the 6 runs she's given up, only 1 of them is accredited to her as an earned run. And that was off the Kenna Kreidler solo home run back in the first inning.
Yeah, honestly, she's done a great job of keeping Tampa at bay for the most part. Defensive miscues have kind of cost her a couple of runs, but honestly, she's done her job.
1 strike now to Lily Keister. By the way, Wallace has not given up more than 6 runs in an outing this season. She has hit 6 runs surrendered a couple times. Did so against Embry-Riddle back on April 17th. Also did so against Rollins in an 8-inning appearance back on March 15th. Swing and a miss, 1-2 now for Lily Keister. Here we go one more time. The 1-2 for Keister. Singled back in the first. And goes down looking in the fourth. Good spot from Wallace. That's her 3rd strikeout. 4th strikeout of the game. You could say Wallace has also been effectively wild. 3 walks and 4 strikeouts so far. It's Fantone coming to the plate. Walked in her previous at-bat. Got on via error in the first. Her bunt was picked up cleanly by Copeland, but Copeland's throw just missed Dixon ever so slightly. One and 0. 2-0.
That was a good pitch.
The walk record that was broken this year was held by Lauren Fantone previously. Fantone's only had 10 walks this season. As the count goes 3-0, the fastball missing inside. Fantone had 36 back in 2023. And that'll be strike one, landing right down the middle. Kreidler, the first Spartan to reach 40 walks in a season. And by the way, if she reaches 42, the Spartans would finally have their all-time best walks eclipse their all-time most strikeouts in a single year. 3-2, that one hits the outside corner to Fantone.
Fantone's kind of taking that second leadoff type role. If Keister gets on, she's going to bunt her over. She's definitely going to swing a lot more. So I think that's why you see the walk rate drop.
Fouled away. Fantone still was a leadoff player for majority of the season. And for the last couple years, it's been Fantone first, Keister second. Only recently with this quote-unquote breakout by Lily Keister that we saw the lineup order switch. But they do the same job. Get on board, get the runner to second. Sometimes get both on board. Payoff pitch from Wallace. Popped up. That's in play for the catcher. Inning over. And Wallace gets her first 1-2-3 inning of the day. Much needed to keep things scoreless for the Spartans in the fourth. Tampa, 6 runs, 3 hits, no errors. Nova, 3 runs, 4 hits, 3 errors. Tampa holds the advantage with 9 outs to go. Lekensky, the walk-off hero yesterday, will get things started for the Sharks. She was given an opportunity to win the game for the Sharks in the previous outing against Barrie, and she cleanly hit a double into right field to seal the deal. Although, I don't think it technically counts as a double because the game ended once the winning run came home.
So I'm not sure how that's scored.
Yeah.
It was definitely a double, if not a triple for sure.
Yeah, maybe even a home run if she was fast enough. Well, this will be a single into left field. Fantone to it cleanly to make sure there's no extra bases. Lekensky gets on for the second time today. Drew a walk against Galehouse in the second inning, something only 6 players had done up to that point in the regular season.
6 walks?
Yep, only 6 walks for Galehouse over 100-plus innings.
Wow.
That's got to be a team record for walk-through 9. Unfortunately, not directly tracked in our record books. We do track, I think, the K through 7 rates, though. No one's touching those records set by Megan Cox, a Spartan legend through and through, with some absolutely mind-boggling numbers. Julia Morrow has the overall strikeout record in his season with 349. Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure Morrow started every single game for the Spartans. That's going to miss down low. Kreidler up quickly, 2-0.
Oh, she wanted that snap throw, but nobody there.
Even though Kayla Cox only had 332 strikeouts in 2013, she did have a team record of 17 complete game shutouts.
That's impressive.
28 complete games in total that season. That's going to be bunted, and Tampa's going to let it roll. They say fair. That was right on the line. Discretion of the umpire. McLachlan says it's fair. Tying run to the plate for the Sharks.
That's one of those deals. You just let the ball play itself, and sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't.
That's exactly what Tampa did. Everyone, Russo, Galehouse, and Kreidler watched. And it indeed stayed on the line for barely a fair ball. 2 on for Margulis. She goes for a bunt as well. Galehouse will get the first out of the inning. Honestly, if you're Tampa, you kind of prefer Nova just trying to score these 2 runners instead of looking to get 3 in the inning because you have a 3-run lead. You can't afford to give up a run or 2.
Well, Nova's definitely applying pressure right here.
Nova also knows they've got time to manufacture the rest of the 3-run deficit. They'd love a hit to make it 6-5. Outfield playing normal depth. They're not playing shallow to try to keep the runner at second from scoring. They also know, though, of course, if the ball gets behind them, it would clear the bases either way. There's the logic behind.
Just gave a sequence of signs to Russo.
Fouled away 1-1. Interesting there.
And I'm not sure what the signs are for, but judging by the I guess you would say the secondary lead or the lead off from the bag.
Swing and a miss from the changeup by Galehouse, 1-2. That's been her go-to strikeout pitch across her Spartans career. Galehouse has never been a strikeout specialist, though. Always a relatively low K through 9, but does have electric stuff with that changeup. Now the 1-2. Slows it down again for strike 3. Kreidler gets the throw to first, and she had to make sure that Lakensky wasn't going to try to score from third on the throw.
Great job by Kreidler right there, making sure, hey, I understand that runner's there. I'm going to look at you, hold you there.
2 outs now. It's going to be Lawson at the plate.
Kreidler is definitely looking over to Russo. She might do a snap throw.
Ball 1. And Russo is setting up for it in case Lakensky gets a big jump.
I've noticed Russo's holding the runner a lot harder now. Not as big of a lead.
That misses just down low, 2-0. There is a free base for Galehouse. You have the team's weakest hitter on deck in Samantha Dixon. But do you want the bases loaded? My answer would be no at 2 away. This is not like it's the bottom of the 7th, and there's a walk-off possibility. The force out at home isn't something that's useful here. You can get an out pretty much any other way. The infield now playing pretty shallow for Lawson. Lawson carries a .313 slugging on the season. Only 6 extra base hits. Rolled to first. Picked up by DeSimone. Dives. Gets out number 3.
Love the effort. Love the effort.
Yetter wasn't going to be able to cover in time. DeSimone has to do it herself. And while the Sharks get more danger on the board, they leave 2 on the base path. Tampa, 5 innings almost done. We're headed to the bottom of the 5th with Tampa bringing up 3, 4, and 5. Russo, Galehouse, Kreidler due up for the Spartans. It's the NCAA South Region game number 2. Or game number 3. Game number 1 of 3 today. Game number 3 in total for what is an action-packed playoff weekend. Popped up and caught at first base. 1 away, Margulis is there. Wallace now has made it 4 1/3 innings in the circle. Her pitch count's 83. We've already mentioned how she's had multiple 190 pitch outings this season. Came off of a big performance yesterday. Needs to stay locked in here. The Sharks also need to find 3 runs in the next 6 outs to avoid a trip to the elimination bracket. Popped behind by Galehouse for strike 1. Galehouse was given an impromptu start after some control issues saw McGinnis exit the game after a third of an inning. Since then, Galehouse has been locked down in the circle. It's the pitching staff repaying McGinnis. After McGinnis was able to bail the Spartans out last week, Galehouse encountering some trouble in her outing after 5 innings, which saw McGinnis come in and put out the fire, and then DeSimone getting chased out of the game in 2 innings, with McGinnis coming in and going the rest of the game scoreless. Now today it's McGinnis having some issues, and Galehouse going deep. In the circle. This one was a very easy pop fly to Dixon, 2 away. That was not deep at all, and Wallace gets 2 quick outs back to back. Here comes Kenna Kreidler. Kreidler's already picked up one of the moments of the season for the Spartans with that solo home run earlier today. Kreidler takes down low for ball 1. Not easy to clear the fences. 2 times Kreidler has done it this season. And I think she and Abby Soltz both had early season home runs at Namole Family Stadium. Now the 2-0 from Wallace. 3-0 from Wallace, missing up high.
Kreidler with that plate discipline is just unmatched.
Ball 4. Kreidler draws yet another walk. And it is official. Tampa's best season at the plate in terms of a single player's walks is now better than their most strikeouts as a player, as a batter. With that, it's 42 walks in a season for Kenna Kreidler compared to just 41 strikeouts, all-time strikeout leader in a season for Cassie Barnes. Keep in mind, though, you don't want to necessarily lead a strikeout leaderboard. That's going to be ball 1 high and inside. There have been only 2 30-walk seasons for Spartan batters in team history. Lauren Fantone in 2023, Kenna Kreidler with 42 here in 2025. Solt popped this one up, and that catch is going to be made by Copeland. So, even though there was another walk, a 4th the game from Wallace, she has a clean inning otherwise, and that is going to bring the Spartans back on defense for the top of the 6th. The Sharks will bring up their 8, 9, and 1 hitters when we come back. And welcome back to the University of Tampa campus for the 2025 NCAA South Region for softball playoffs. Mariah Galehouse continues in the circle, has had 4 2/3 innings of scoreless softball, has shut the door on what was a great start for the Sharks offense, The Sharks have 6 outs to respond with the top of their order. It'll be the bottom of the order leading off, though. Dixon getting us started. Dixon's picked up, I think, 2 errors today. Squares up for a bunt. 1-1, pulls back in time. One missing down low. Kreidler couldn't frame it. We saw Spring Hill's team earlier in the stands. I know them and Barry, I believe, arriving soon on campus. Their game starts at 3 p.m. today. The winner of that game will take on the loser of this game. Reynolds struggling to find it, but eventually does. And that'll be the first out of the inning. If you lose here from the winner's bracket, you aren't done. You get a chance to play in the elimination bracket to keep your season alive. A win there after that game at 6 p.m. sends you to the regional final, where then you have to win the next 2 games against that top team to advance to super regionals as the count goes 0-1. Or as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, your goal here in the regionals, win 3 before you lose 2. 0-2 now, as Tampa and Nova looking for their second win in regional play. Although technically if you lose, you do have to win, I think, 4 games to make it through. Even 5 if you lose at first. That's going to be fouled away. No, you still have to win 4 if you lose. That'll bring it to 0-2. Galehouse ahead of Matthews. Down to the dirt. That's a very easy changeup to swing and miss at. But Matthews keeps the bat on her shoulder. Beautiful day on the U-Tampa campus. And the people that had the tailgate yesterday on the garage are back again. As that's going to miss outside, ball 2.
So it must be a Tampa fan.
They certainly must be. Because they weren't there for the Nova game yesterday. So they can't be Nova fans. Unless it's a set of Nova fans that have made the trip. I highly doubt it. I'd imagine they're Spartan fans. The count's 2-2. Hit down the line and foul. Busy day on campus. I believe there's also graduation today.
I believe I did see a bunch of parents pulling in this morning.
They were at the Martinez Center and the stadium there, where basketball and volleyball plays. Hit to short. Reynolds is there. Throw is just in time. 2 away. Top of the order for the Sharks. It's the dangerous Cassidy Duskin ready to go. I think Duskin, pretty sure it was her that hit the gritty after getting an infield single earlier. She's had 2 hits today. Duskin down the line and foul. That'll go to the vacant Spartan bullpen. Tampa's going to give the green light the rest of the distance for Galehouse. They could bring McGinnis back or bring DeSimone to the circle. I don't imagine they'd bring Winters into the circle if they wanted to make a pitching change. 0-1 from Galehouse. Swing and a miss. Went around. No, the umpire did not see it. I think he must have blinked in that play because it looked like clear as day that Duskin went all the way around. She was moving a bit far forward, too, as she kind of really committed, but must have barely kept the bat forward. This one's going to be blooped to left field, and that's going to be picked up on 1 hop. Nice dive, but no catch. 2 away now for Cassidy Peterson. A 3-hit day for Duskin. That wouldn't have... The called strike call probably wouldn't have changed anything there because the next pitch was blooped. The 2 strikes wouldn't probably bloop the same way.
And if you're Nova, you got a base runner, you need to cash them in.
Ball 1, fastball down low from Galehouse. Patterson singled in the first, had a sacrifice bunt that was able to be beat out on the base path. Had a fielder's choice in second. This one will be a close play. Reynolds gets it in time. So Galehouse surrenders a base runner, but that is all the Sharks can muster. Final chance for the Spartans to extend their advantage. 3-run, Tampa leads here in regional play. Here we go with a brand new frame. It's Wallace taking on DeSimone. Yetter and Reynolds. Could be the final inning in the circle for Wallace. It depends on what happens in the top of the 7th. That'll be ball 1 inside to DeSimone. The trio of DeSimone, Yetter, and Reynolds are 1 for 4. The hit belonging to DeSimone. DeSimone also drew a walk back in the 2nd inning. The DeSimone hit a blooper, brought home 2 runs. The most recent Spartan runs in the ballgame. And that'll hit the corner for a strike, 1-1. It is going to be an active weekend for Wallace. The 1-1, just missing, 2-1. She went the distance yesterday against Barry. In that performance, had 103 pitches over 7 innings of 1-run ball. DeSimone to left field. That one's tracking deep, but not deep enough. Duskin's there, 1 away.
That was a good smack right there.
Could be the second 100-pitch game in a row for Graceland Wallace. And that'll bring up Hannah Yetter. She was replaced with a pinch hitter in her previous at-bat. And that'll be strike 1. The final regular season appearance for Wallace saw her enter in relief in a game against Lynn when Lydia Drake surrendered 2 runs in the 1st inning. But she was able to go the distance, 6 2/3, striking out 6 to take the win. It helped that Nova scored 9 in that matchup. Yetter up the middle with a base hit. Her first postseason hit, and Yetter's on the board with 1 away. Here comes Kenzie Reynolds.
That was a great job of hitting by Yetters right there, taking that outside pitch right up the middle, not really committing the hands through the ball.
Kenzie Reynolds ready to go, using Crazy Train as a walk-up song. That's a banger. Shows bunt, gets it down to the first base player. And that throw to Dixon's on target. Lily Keister now will have a runner in scoring position with 2 away. I'm not usually a fan of 1-out bunts, but I think it did catch the Sharks' defense off guard a bit. A hit from Keister would give them a 4-run lead.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that play either, because now kind of put yourself into a corner and you're really counting on that instead of being able to manufacture something.
Two away. First pitch to Keister. Ball 1. Winning the 12 p.m. game today is very useful in regional play because it gives you the rest of the day off. Gives you a chance to rest and get fully ready for what could be a 2-game Saturday showdown. If you lose the game here, you have to play 2 games. And if you do win that second game, you're going to be a bit more tired in terms of your pitching staff leading into a pivotal 2-game stretch tomorrow, where you have to sweep against the team that you had just lost to.
Especially in this heat, it'll wear you down fast.
Now, for a team like Tampa, that's not a huge disadvantage. Tampa's got 3 reliable starters they can go to, as that one's fouled away for a second strike. But for Nova, who are clearly relying on Wallace for a majority of this tournament, you have to wonder how long can Wallace continue in the circle. They do have a good player they could go to in her stead, Cassidy Duskin, who's out in left field. But again, you imagine that the number 10 is going to keep the ball as long as she possibly can in the circle. One more strike gives her 6 innings today. Won't get it yet. Ball 2.
Wallace has, she really has pitched a good game, despite what the score says. She's definitely done her job. She's just not getting the run support. But on the other side of the coin is you're going against Galehouse.
That's going to be hit up the middle. Out of reach of the second base player. Rolls to center field. 7-4 Spartans. Yetter advances home, and Tampa takes a 7-3 lead. Dixon slowed the softball down on the run, but that was just out of reach. 1 on, 2 away for Lord Fantone. And Tampa's advantage has been extended. You definitely feel a little more comfortable with the 7-3 advantage. Entering the 7th. Let's see what Fantone can do to try to keep things going. Fantone down the line and foul. Coach Rubio was hoping to get the call for a fair ball, but it landed foul.
It's not something you see too often out of Fantone. She's usually a opposite side hitter. Pitch was inside, and she was ready for it. She wants another one of those.
Fantone's 0 for 1 today. Drew a walk and got aboard via error on the sacrifice bunt in the first. Make it 1-1. That error was when she bunted it over to Copeland, and Copeland's throw just missed Dixon. Into the gap for Fantone. It is caught on the run by Matthews. That saved a run from scoring and takes us to Last Chance Saloon. We're ready to go for Fantone, Russo, and Gelhaus when we come back. NCAA coverage on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. We'll be right back. Gelhaus needs 3 more outs to punch Tampa's ticket to the regional final. 4-run lead. The heart of the order due up. Lekensky, Copeland, and Margulis due up. So far, Gelhaus has had 5 2/3 innings with 5 hits, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. She'll get strike 1 to start the inning. Lekensky had a sacrifice bunt in the first, a walk in the second, a single in the fifth. Gone on base twice against Mariah Gelhaus. Hit to third. Gets past Russo. Just rolled under her glove, and it's a leadoff base runner for the Sharks. Very rare miscue for Russo. There'll certainly be an error on her. First error of the game for the Spartans.
Yeah, that's one of those grounders. A lot of top spin. You're not sure if it's really going to hop on you or not.
Just what the doctor ordered for the Sharks. That's going to be hit down the line and foul. Was out of reach of Russo, but that was mainly because it rolled into foul territory. 1 strike to Copeland, who singled in the fifth. Ball 1 missing up high. That first out to set the tone would have been huge for the Spartans. They also just have to recover with an out here against Copeland. Otherwise, the Sharks could get something brewing. There's a changeup. Wow. Close, but a little high, 2-1.
Not sure where that missed. I think it fooled him, too.
That's going to be hit up the middle. Tapped by Gelhaus. 2 runners aboard. You know, it's a smart play to slow the ball down. That time around kind of backfired for the Spartans. There's Coach Cantor headed out to the circle. Just talking things over with the team.
I would imagine most of this meeting is going to be, hey, let's settle down. We got a 4-run advantage. We need 3 outs.
Tying runs on deck for the Sharks. They do have 2 base runners with no outs, though. This is a big moment for Galehouse. She's continued to lower her ERA throughout her performance today. Although that first base runner wouldn't be earned if it did go all the way around the base path. 0.68 on the season for Galehouse. First pitch, strike 1. Fires a fastball right down the middle. No fear to Margulis.
I feel like Galehouse, after that little mound meeting, she's ready to go right after him.
Slows it down with a changeup. That one hits his own strike 2. That's the call she was looking for in the previous at-bat. Margulis walked in a run in the first. Hasn't gotten on board since. That was because she had a sacrifice bunt back in the 5th. Rolled on the ground. Reynolds is there. Throw in time. 1 away. So call it a sacrifice for Margulis as she moves the runners to scoring position. It is a productive out, but it gets one of the final 3 outs Tampa needs. That's going to bring up Abby Moore, the freshman catcher who's seen a couple of wild pitches get past her. She'd love to convert here in this postseason spot. 2 strikeouts after getting hit by a pitch. Blooped and caught by DeSimone. 2 away. Would have scored both if it got down. Would have been right in no man's land, but DeSimone was there in time.
DeSimone's been a magnet over there at first today.
She
2
started,
great plays.
She started her Spartan career at first base before becoming a 2-way player. And even though she's been replaced by Solt as the everyday first baseman, she still can play the position quite well. 1 strike now. Final chance to stay alive for the Sharks is Malaya Lawson. 0-1. Hit sharply, past the diving Yetter. 2 runs could score. Throw from Galehouse. Intercepted to keep the runner at first. Late offense from the Sharks brings the tying run to the plate. Any hit was going to bring them home from second and third. It's the tying run up for the Sharks. And it's in the form of Samantha Dixon, although they are going to call to the bench. They're going to bring in a pinch hitter. A pinch hit hero, potentially.
The old Dan Johnson from the Rays, Joe Madden days.
It's Aaron McLaughlin entering. Galehouse needs just 1 more out. Getting those 2 outs before that hit was super useful, though, because it alleviates so much of the pressure you'd have in this situation.
Right,
With 1 outs or no outs and the tying run at the plate, it's a lot scarier than it actually is.
Essentially, the runner at first does not matter at the moment.
You focus on the runner at the plate.
That's right.
First pitch, McLaughlin sees strike 1 in the outside corner. She's hitting .207 this season, a .241 slugging percentage. They're just looking for her to get a base hit. Keep the inning going. And it's 2 strikes from Galehouse. One more strike. And hasn't gotten it yet. Very late swing, but she did guess there was going to be a changeup. She just couldn't get her bat to it.
Yeah, she was looking for the changeup, and she got it, and still gave her a little trouble on that.
I think you got to go with the changeup again here. 0-2, 2 away. Fastball up high. If that was in the zone, McLaughlin would have seen that fly by for strike 3. But just clipped the top part of the plate.
Galehouse wanted to throw some gasoline and get that punch out right there.
Now the 1-2. Swing and a miss. She goes around. And Galehouse, out of the bullpen from right field, fires 6 2/3 with no earned runs to send the Spartans to the regional final. 2 runs did score on that hit by Lawson. They both were unearned off the Russo error. So that ERA is going to continue to drop down for Galehouse as she picks up a crucial postseason win for the Spartans. Nova Southeastern, however, aren't going to be done just yet. They have got 7 more innings of softball to play. They'll take a breather. They'll be going at 6 p.m. today. We'll be back at Namoli Family Stadium. Barry and Spring Hill to keep their season alive in the elimination bracket. Final score, Tampa wins 7-5. Wallace went the distance, 6 innings, 1 earned run. Well, 2 earned runs, but takes the defeat today, falling to 22-4 in the season. I imagine she'll get some ice and will be back out there later this afternoon. But we hope to see you soon. The Bucks and Badgers are going to put on an exciting performance as they try to keep their postseason going. For Mark Skippy Lieberstein, I'm Taylor Storley. We'll see you next time on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network with NCAA Regional Softball.